So here's an important update to the canceled New York Democratic primary election. That was obviously something that was very upsetting. I was somebody who was a recurring donor to Bernie, and the idea that I wouldn't be able to cast my vote for him, even given the fact that he suspended his campaign, he's supposed to still be on the ballot, but New York said, how about we just cancel the election completely? And they're doing it because probably they want to screw the down-ballot candidates, down-ballot left-wing candidates, and they want to make it so that Bernie has less influence going into the convention than he otherwise would. No matter what, Biden's going to win. Don't get it twisted. Like, Biden's going to, I think, win running away with it. But still, Bernie wanted to be on the ballot. I would have liked to go vote for him. And, it's supposed to be the case in a free country, in a democracy. You can go and you can vote for your preferred candidate. So, thankfully, that decision to cancel a Democratic election has been overruled by a judge. So let's watch a little segment explaining what happened.
The State Board of Elections is planning an appeal after a federal judge ruled that the presidential primary must be held. The June 23rd vote had been canceled last week over coronavirus concerns. Former Vice President Joe Biden was declared the winner, but former candidate Andrew Yang then sued. And yesterday, a federal judge ruled the cancellation was unconstitutional and said the presidential primary vote in New York must be held.
Okay, so massive shout out to Andrew Yang. I had no idea that he had gotten involved in this, and he sued to try to get the election put back on. But, massive credit to Andrew Yang. In a weird roundabout way, it's honestly like Andrew Yang is fighting more for Bernie Sanders and his team than Bernie Sanders is fighting for him and his team. So, I don't know why Bernie wouldn't have been the one to sue to try to, get the election back on, considering they had released a statement and were like, we don't like this. So, massive shout out to Andrew Yang. And just so everybody understands, the Democratic Party decided we're going to appeal this decision. So they cancel a Democratic election. A court says, no, you can't do that. And then they go, we disagree. We think we can do it. And they're appealing. And the cover story they're giving everybody is COVID-19. But hold on. The election was originally supposed to be in April, late April. Then they pushed it back to late June, I believe. And now they're like, oh, we got to cancel it because of COVID-19. But you have plenty of time to do an all-mail election. So why would you not transfer to doing the election by the mail? It's because they don't want to. It's because, like I said, they would love to screw the down-ballot candidates, and they would love to limit any and all power that Bernie has going into the convention. See, the way it works is the more votes you win, the more delegates you have. When you have more delegates, you get to influence the party platform more at the convention. Now, do I think that they're just going to ignore the platform, even if it was like a super left-wing platform? Yes. But, Bernie Sanders, bless his heart, I think that maybe he is a little naive on this front, where he thinks like, sure, if I influence the party platform, well, then definitely you'll have a further left-wing administration if Biden takes office. And it's like, okay, no, you won't. But I still, just as a matter of principle, again, I said it on Kyle and Corin, I said it on this show before, the fact that I was a recurring donor to Bernie Sanders, and every single month I'm giving him money, and then it's like, they take away my option even to have my voice heard in what's supposed to be a free country, what's supposed to be a democratic election. Like, really? I can't vote for the person I want to vote for with all the things that I had done to try to support my candidate? Like, you're just casually taking that away. And it really is, it shows the next level arrogance that you get out of the Democratic Party. And then the other thing is, I had gotten a text message, so there was a big backlash when they decided to cancel the election. And then I had gotten a text message. I have no idea how my name and my number gets on these lists. But some Democratic group, sent me a message saying something along the lines of, just so everybody understands, Joe Biden has had nothing to do with the decision to take away the Democratic election in New York. And so, don't be mad at him, and we can depend on you to beat Trump in November, right? It was a text that was almost like a pathetic, groveling, begging text realizing that the New York Democratic Party bit off more than they could chew and really pissed people off by saying, yeah, we're just going to take away the election. And so they were like trying to do damage control almost. So it's just, they're so pathetic and they're so sad. And this is what they do, guys, in the same way that they're going to, if Biden loses, and I do mean if, it's an if, they're going to blame everybody else for the loss. They're going to point fingers like crazy. They're not going to accept any responsibility yet again. And it's just this vicious cycle that we're on. But I do feel like they've gotten even more brazen. The fact that they just like, yeah, we'll just cancel it. Okay, well, now you just set a precedent of canceling elections as a result of COVID-19. So now, why can't you cancel any election for any reason whatsoever? The only reason you're like, oh, this is reasonable is because COVID-19 is a real crisis. But you could theoretically do this now for anything that somebody considers an earth-shattering event or like a big situation. So once you set that precedent, it's not limited to what you're just doing now, which is bad enough, and I don't agree with what they're doing now. But what would stop Trump from saying, I'm going to postpone the election because of COVID-19 still? Because, a lot of experts think it could come back and come back stronger come November, actually come October or November. So why can't he just be like, yeah, well, New York showed the way and they canceled an election, so I'm going to do the same. So they're like, they just don't care about the precedent they set. They just don't care about how it's interpreted and what it is. They're just power-hungry losers, and they stand for nothing, and it's really upsetting. But anyway, shout out to the judge that overruled it. Shout out to Andrew Yang for suing in the first place, and screw every single one of them in the New York Democratic Party, and especially now that they're appealing the decision, I have to tell you guys, man, in New York, since we have closed primaries, I have no choice but to be registered as a Democrat to vote in Democratic primaries, and that drives me crazy. Because really, in my heart of hearts, everybody knows I'm an independent. I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent who caucuses with the left. That's what I am. And I would love nothing more than to just burn that registration that has me registered as a Democrat here in New York. I wish I could. I wish we had open primaries. I do it in a heartbeat. I do it in an instant. But they have such an undemocratic system, quite literally here in New York, that I have no choice but to be a member of the Democratic Party. So it's upsetting, and I don't like it, and I hope they understand how frustrated I am and how much I can't stand their guts.